Welcome back to Straight Facts. I'm joined by KJ today. Big Steve is a little unwell and he'll be back with us next week for the show. But KJ, how are you, my friend?
Doing all right. I know I look a bit different to what I normally look like. Maybe it's the hat and I've been in the sun a little bit, you know what I mean? I am Steve. What are you talking about? No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good to have you here, mate. And viewers, of course, like buttons, hit them. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you have the bell notifications turned on. Lots to talk about today with, of course, transfer stories and this unknown 23-year-old Brazilian on his way to Arsenal. Reported as close, could be done this week. And I see people asking Steve, be here at the start of the show. Steve's not well this week and we'll be back with us next. We're talking Onana. We're going to be talking João Felix as well. A lot of Man United fans calling him to become a Man United player. We're going to be getting KJ's take on that as well. We're looking at Kane. We're looking at Gvardiol to City as well on this show. We are also going to review the Dele Alli interview as well, which I think is #1 trending video on YouTube right now. Clips trending all across social media. The world, pouring their heart and their thanks, their sorrow, their sadness, their pride in some respects as well. In people are feeling very, very mixture of emotions around Dele Alli speaking up the way that he has done. So we're covering all of that on the show today.
And you can't forget, obviously, the big bad Saudi coming in for half of Liverpool's team now.
We are going to talk about that as well, but I'm going to be calling out the hypocrisy so far of Liverpool's journalists and of certain Liverpool fans online as well, because I'm yet to see them condemn this dirty, evil, murderous money. By the way, that's what they call it when Newcastle City get it and Man United are linked to it. I haven't seen them call these transfer funds out. I haven't seen them say we should reject it in principle, but we'll get onto that later in the show. We absolutely will. There's no doubt about it. Get your super chats in, get your member chats in as well. But I wanted to start off by talking about the Dele Alli situation, because this is a young man who, when he broke through at Tottenham, obviously we saw him at MK Dons. Man United fans certainly did. They knocked us out of the League Cup with Dele Alli in their midfield many years ago. He came to Tottenham and I think he's still the youngest ever midfielder to 50 goals. He had a couple of brilliant seasons. He was very much part of a Spurs team that got to that Champions League semi-final, and there was a lot to be excited about with him. And there was a big fall off in his career. And for years, we have all judged Dele Alli. There isn't anybody that is innocent in this. Some may have defended him more than others. Some may have gone in more than others. But we've all questioned his professionalism, his work rate, his dedication to the game, his desire to be a football player. We have challenged his professionalism. And he's done a very emotive, very powerful interview with Gary Neville on the Overlap, talking about he struggles with mental health and very much what's been happening to him off the pitch in his adult years that has essentially kind of led to his downfall in the game. And so much of it kind of comes back to his childhood, where it has been revealed that, it's heartbreaking to him read it out, that he grew up with an alcoholic mother. He was molested by one of his mother's friends at 6 years of age. He started smoking at 8, selling drugs at 8 years of age, was hung off a bridge at 11. All of this before he was adopted at 12. Hung off a bridge by a grown-up from a rival housing estate, selling drugs, sexually assaulted at 6, and a biological mother, again, who was an alcoholic, wasn't functional for him, wasn't protecting him. And all of this has just led to huge trauma later on in life, which makes so much sense now of the struggles that Dele Alli has had on the football pitch because of his struggles as an adult off the pitch. And I think it highlights so much that sometimes as fans, and we are all guilty of this is not pointing fingers at any one individual. Sometimes I think we overassess footballers and we almost dehumanize them. We do not treat them as people. We do not think about what could potentially be happening elsewhere. And I think it's right to criticize what they do on the pitch. I think it's right to judge whether you think they should be at your club or sold. That is fair. And most footballers I've ever heard speak kind of want that. But when we start ignoring the fact that they are human beings as well, just because they earn what we perceive to be obscene amounts of money, I think we're creating and perpetuating a real big problem here, KJ.
No, it is. And I've been fighting against this for the last couple of years. You've probably seen me do it on Twitter and on the shows and stuff about how we speak about footballers as first and foremost people. I think fans they've got such a warped view of what a footballer is and who they are because they see him just playing a football pitch and they're there to fulfill our desires of joy, of glory, of our own escapism from our own problems. People use football and footballers as those escapes. Some people vicariously live through footballers. So whatever they're going through, they feel like they're going through too. And the way that fans have gone after footballers personally, their family members, their friends, it's just not on. It's just not right. And this is another example of what happens when you actually listen to a footballer and realize why he is being the way that he is. I have the privilege and the honor to interview footballers on the Ballers and God platform, and I get to speak to them, and that experience made me realize that actually there are so much more like us than we can believe. They have the same fears, they have the same worries, they have the same dreams, goals, aspirations. They have all of that. The only difference is they play football and we don't. And the way that footballers do it is the way that fans go after them is crazy. Like, I've spoken to at least 6 or 7 footballers, some of them Premier League level, some of them play for a different level, on a podcast. I've hung around, I've got to spend a week with some of them on a retreat, some youth players, some upcoming players. And honestly, when I hear their stories, it's just like mad. Like Benicophobe, he was supposed to be born with no legs. Like the doctor said he was supposed to be born with no legs, and here he is like playing football. Adi Nigalo, born in poverty. Anthony Elanga, he had a very threatening accident happened to him at a young age. Now we're hearing about Dele Alli. It's time for football fans to literally just keep it about football. Like, stop vicariously living through footballers. Stop trying to attack them for playing football and you going after their families, after their personal lives, because we have no idea what's going on. We at Ballers and God have a podcast coming out later today about Dele Alli. This was filmed two months ago, you know what I mean? I was about to release it next week, and then this comes out. And I'm filming with John Bostock and Kenji Gare, 2 professional footballers, and they kept on saying, you do not know what a footballer is going through in their life to go to get to where they are. Both of them have been through whatever different experiences that they went through, and they've come out of it on the other side. And we love that, but not every footballer does. We've seen players like Gascoigne go through it. George Best went through it. Like, even the players of the elite level go through these personal issues that we won't find out until years later, if there's an autobiography, even sometimes after their death. That's when we find about all the things that gone in their lives. So we really need to start being careful about how we speak about footballers online, on streams, in person, because we don't know the damage that we're really doing to them. And I will say, big up to Dele Alli for also coming out and expressing how he feels, explaining his life story and being vulnerable to the world in that way. Because at such a young age, he's 26, 25. At his age, he doesn't need to do that. It's going to be, as a man, it's so easy just to hold on and be like, no, I just put on a front that I'm okay. And then if years down the line, when I'm 50 odd, then I'll tell my story. He's telling it now. And you can tell that he wants to get his football career back on track by doing something like this. So I have nothing but love and support for Dele Alli. If I have ever said anything untoward to him that it was not fair, not okay, I personally retract and apologize for that. I don't remember if I have, but even if I haven't, I still making sure that I'm not going to be a part of putting that kind of pressure and negativity towards a player. So yeah, man, it's a massive moment, I think, in football. So
Yeah,
hopefully we learn from it.
I think it certainly is. And like I've already said, you know, opening day of the season, a big Man United player puts in a poor performance, you're absolutely right to criticize them. But it's when we take it too far. Sometimes there might be stories out there. So I've definitely criticized the Maguire family, but I criticize them for the way maybe or the way I perceive it to be, the way that almost your son or your brother or your partner's playing badly. And instead of kind of keeping quiet and helping him get through that, you're almost putting out a message that no, he's not. He's playing brilliantly. I don't think that helps the individual. But and I think there is a space for this, and there's a space to not do this as well. I think there is a mixture, if that makes sense, when it comes to this type of thing that we need to be very, very mindful of. But the amount of times I see people, you remember, it's only a few weeks ago, Marcus Rashford was doing a book signing event that was raising money for children that are hungry. And because it was within a week of us losing the FA Cup final, certain Man United fans online were giving him stick for it, abusing him over it. And that's where you look at it and just think to yourself, hang on, like this Rashford, I don't know what he went through wholly in his growing up, but he spoke about how he grew up and as hard as his mum worked, there were days where he was hungry, there were days where he had problems, and that's why he's fighting hard to help children in similar situations. And you're giving him stick for that because we didn't win a football match. That is where, like you've said, you've got to stop living through these footballers. That is where you know, and like someone in the comments said, you can't stop kids trolling. I understand that, but I always look at the world as what influence do you have? Now, you can't change the world, and nor can I, KJ, because we are, I wouldn't even call us influencers. But if we are, we're very, very small. You know, we don't have the power, the impact of a Stormzy or a Dale. I'm trying to name some really influential people, or Gary Lineker. But even then, they're limited. But I've always looked at the world very much as, but if I can impact the people around me and help make them better, then I've done my job. So if I can make my children behave in the right way when they move online, if I can talk to very close friends or, you know, brothers of mine and say, guys, look at it from this point of view. I go, oh, you're right. Actually, I'm going to change my mindset. I've done my job. Everybody helped change the mind of 2 or 3 people. The world becomes a better place very, very quickly. And, you know, when it comes to the mental health stuff as well, you know, I'm suffering with nothing that barely anything on the list of things that Dele Alli has been through. I have suffered with. There's a few that very much marry up in my life. But none of that is what is impacting me now. I'm going through terrible health anxiety. And I never really understood what anxiety was until this. I thought I'd had anxiety in the past. And it pales into insignificance compared to what I feel now. I have days where I am chronically ill because I am petrified of, and it's irrational when I say it out loud and it sounds silly. But inside it's deep, where I stand there or I sit there or I lay there at night. And I am adamant and I am convinced that any second now, my heart is going to stop and I'm about to drop down dead of a heart attack. I have, according to the doctors I've seen, it's health anxiety, but it's very acute in what they call cardiophobia, the threat of instant death from a heart attack. Now, my heart's been tested 3 times, blood test 3 times. It's as healthy as it could be for a 37-year-old. But the anxiety is still there. And everybody gets anxiety for different reasons, but once you've got it, you've got it. It could be health anxiety. It could be fear and depression and anxiety off the back of that based on childhood trauma. It could be a car accident that you've been in. It could be that you've lost your job, the loss of a loved one. Everyone will have a different trigger, but it's such a real thing. And I never believed that it wasn't real, but now I've experienced it. For me, I have a whole newfound respect for it, and it's something that, you know, I'm working on with CBT, that's cognitive behavioral therapy. You know, I've taken I take, it's strangely, I'm not gonna on my heart, but I take beta blockers. And what beta blockers essentially do is they stop my heart rate from going too high or adrenaline pumping out. So if I get a bit anxious, I essentially stop me from having panic attacks. That's worked really well for me in the last 2 weeks. And it's helping, but it's a process and it's a long process. I'm just fortunate enough to have a lot of great people around me, loved ones around me to help me through this. And not everybody's that lucky. And just because you're rich and famous doesn't mean you have a great circle of people around you. I'm not suggesting Dele Alli doesn't have that, but that's why I do think we need to be more mindful as a, we talk about footballers, and I think we can all learn. I've seen a lot of people today going for Poet and other people online that have said some harsh things about Dele Alli in the past. And although it was very tongue-in-cheek and it was about his football, you don't know what you don't know. You learn new things, you change your stance. I don't believe, again, this is the irony in it. I don't know Poet particularly well. We've met a couple of times. I see people attacking him today, wanting him cancelled, wanting him to apologize, riding out. And I'm like, okay, so you're having a go at Poet. You're abusing Poet because you think what he did was bad for somebody else's mental health. But your response to it is attack someone where you could damage their mental health. These things make no sense to me. You either care about people's mental health or you don't. You can't pick and choose when it's important. And I think there's a balance. I don't think people should be beyond criticism. I don't think people should be like footballers
absolved of any blame of anything.
No, people should be criticized, but it's almost like you should never treat someone like this. That's fine, but then you're going in and going in and going in on someone. I'm like, well, what about the pressure you're putting upon them now? It's really, really crazy to me. So yeah, it's an interesting one to watch, and I'm sad for Dele Alli and what he went through. I'm glad he's talking about it. I hope he gets the help, and I hope he can move on and become I don't want to say a better version of himself, because that doesn't necessarily, that's how I feel about me. It's like I want to now become a better version of myself, or more the old version of myself. But I hope he can kind of get to put some of this stuff to bed, and whether he gets back to playing professional football or just lives happily ever after in terms of these traumas, I hope he gets that, because yeah, to know what it's like to suffer with, not being able to sleep and think straight and concentrate and focus on life. Yeah, it's painful. It's dangerous. So yeah, I hope that he can move on from that. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Terry. Big up Dele Alli. Yeah, listen, my pleasure. Like, I'm very open about what I'm going through, because I don't feel I don't feel like it's a weakness. It's kind of weird. It's back in the day, I would be considered what they call hypochondriac, is what I'd be known as. But it's like, it's only for one thing. Like, I'm not a hypochondriac about everything. But it's weird stuff, like it's summer, right? So I'll get hot, I get a bit sweaty, and my brain goes straight to, oh my God, you're having a heart attack. That's why you're sweaty. It don't even make sense. So I get pain in my jaw, and pain in your jaw is a sign of a heart attack. But what I've realized I do is I sit there tense with my jaw clenched for like half an hour, and then I get cramp in it. So I haven't really got jaw pain. I'm creating this stuff for myself, but it's hard to it's hard to know. And what you might find with Dele Alli, and I'm speaking for him here, which is is that some of the things that have led to him not focusing on football, being tired, not training, not eating well, all could stem from these other problems. This is the thing with mental health. It's about getting to the root cause, because the way somebody, take it away from Dele Alli, someone might be misbehaving at work, misbehaving at school. But they might be seen as insubordinate or lazy or unprofessional or a problem child at school. But you've got to try and get to that root cause analysis as to why are they behaving this way. So my attitude's been really bad with a lot of people privately for the past 6 months. And it's because I'm always on edge, because I always think I'm about to die. So when people see me being short and annoyed, it's not because I'm a horrible person. It's because in my head, in that moment when that person tried to talk to me, I think I'm about to have a heart attack. That's not a good time to bother someone. If someone's having, so it's about understanding someone so that you get where they're coming from, which I think is really, really key. But yeah, very, very happy to share. Big up, Terry. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate that, mate. Ali had not come to terms with his past. The lack of father and loss of Poch brought the loss back again, as Poch was probably a father figure to him.
Yeah, maybe we if he explains that, then that is the case. But yeah, that's something that could definitely happen. But yeah, it just shows that just be kind. You know what I mean? We say it all the time. When a celebrity ends up, I don't know, doing something that we don't want them to do, or a famous person goes through a hard time, it's always, oh, be kind. But legit, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. And I will continue to fight and combat against fans moving a certain way when it comes to footballers. And I want to apologize for that.
Yeah, listen, I'll hold my hands up, and I've probably, especially after some match reactions, especially after a few drinks, I've probably gone in too hard on players in the past. And my view is, again, I'm not pointing fingers at any one individual. I'm saying we all, and I'm including myself in that, need to be better. Simple and as straightforward as that. Moving on to football. 85 million for Hojlund. 85 million for Hojlund, KJ.
What do they think we're from Saudi? That's what it is.
They think that money's already here, bro.
So yeah, they think the Qatar's already here, bro. Like 85 million. Listen, I think this kid has got a big future. He's super talented. He's got a rare ability, which is to score goals at the in the way that he can. It's still too much though. Like, let's be honest. Like, he's had one professional season, one senior season at the highest level. He scored what? Not even more than 15 goals. How does that equate to 85 million? I can't do maths properly, but this clearly ain't calculating together. You know what I mean? This really ain't working. It ain't connecting, because 85 million for this young man is ridiculous. And I know Man United have tried to add players in. They don't want any of our players, considering they, wanted Greenwood on loan apparently. But hey, they don't want none of our players that we're offering. Man United need to walk away. Like, they need to walk away from this, because this is absolutely ridiculous. I am tired of clubs seeing our name and being like, "Oh, Man United, here's an extra 30 million on top because, why not?" Like, this Man United tax is real, and the only way that we can fight Man United tax and make that thing not become a thing anymore, and to make sure that going into the future deals in the next 5, 10, 15 years that we get a fair deal, is by walking away from these things. Yes, it might hurt us in the short term, but in the long term, we'll be benefit from that. So I'd say walk away, go after a David, go after another striker. We've got links to many different kind of players that can play that role. Go after them, and then we move forward, and then we try again. If we want Erasmus Hojlund that much, we try again and again until we get him. But we can't be dictated to like this for a player who's that young, that inexperienced. It's ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. 85 million. Oh, Terry. What is the world doing to us, man? Like, what is this?
Mate, do you know, look at this. I was talking to Dean, about this morning. I get why they're putting the price up. One, we're Man United, biggest, most famous team in England. Two, it's a hard one, right? So it's one of these situations where we have now moved on and said that he's our number one target. Well, great. If you're willing to pay 100 million, they're going to whack the price up now. If we'd have signed Harry Kane last week and we wanted Hojlund as a backup, we'd probably get him for about 35, 40 million, because they would see Harry Kane's the number one. But if you're making him the number one striker at Man United, there's going to be a premium for that. And this all stems down to poor rank. Listen, what we're doing in the transfer market is right. And this is what a lot of rivals struggle to understand. We're not behaving poorly this window. We're not. I thought about this morning when Dean was sort of saying it, and I was like, I got a bit wound up. And then I reflected and thought, no, we're not behaving poorly. We're not being dragged over the barrel. We are doing our best to not go above our own valuations of players. And I've been demanding this for years, so I can't be a hypocrite. But we're in this position where we've got a limited budget because of previously fouled campaigns and projects and everything else. And we're in a difficult situation. The problem that we now face, though, is that we can't start the season without number 9. We can't do it. And if we end up listen, I think Terrace's okay. We've seen the reports that his agent was I don't mind that as a deal, but it can't just be Terrace. I would, for instance, say we can't get a Kane or an Osherman. If you signed Hojlund and a player like a Terrace or a Mitrovic, you signed two of those, three like that. Then okay, cool. They're much better than no strikers, and it's good. But if we start this season without any number 9, and we don't go out and sign a really talented young striker with the ability to take us forward over the coming years, we're really going to struggle next year. We cannot. Rashford, I still think Rashford, fully fit, can score another 25 to 30 goals in all comps next year. I truly do. But that isn't enough. You need another player or two contributing goals at the same time. Go on, mate.
And this is the scary part as well. If we can't get a striker in, and like you say, a young striker can take us forward, the likelihood of a certain somebody coming back into the team also increases.
You talk about
And
Marcel.
well, listen, Martial has a different conversation, but we know we're talking about Mason Greenwood here. The likelihood of him coming back into the Man United squad is very high if this continues on. So Man United have a really, it's not just about getting a striker in, but it's also about planning for the future and basically solving an issue. Because if let's be honest here, that boy has cost Man United £100 million. His stupid, disgusting actions has cost Man United, not just in PR wise and morally, but financially as well. Because he would have been there, he would have been in that spot. Now we in limbo with that situation. We don't want we don't want a situation where we feel like we're forced to bring him back when they maybe they want him back. I'm not too sure. If they want him back, then that's a different conversation. But yeah, we need to get this striker situation sorted. Like you say, a Terrace and a David. We can deal with that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, an older striker and a younger striker. You can name them. Just we need it. We just need this. We just need this striker or two to come in and help Rashford score goals. Because boy, it's looking a bit sticky, man.
Yeah.
Like it is.
What about? I've seen a lot of Man United fans online want this guy. What about João Felix? I've seen a lot of United fans online talk about bringing back at all costs, paying big money. He's a baller. He moves me. Would you sign João Felix, the generational talent that is João Felix?
Oh, man. I just went on a rant about needing players, but now I'm going to say something that will contradict all of what I just said. No, like you just said generational. He's okay. Listen, chat. I don't care what you say. You might not going to say, oh, he's going to be great. He's this, that, and the third. He's not generational. He's not generational. He's very overhyped, very overpriced. And I'm sorry, Man United needs someone who can score goals. He is extremely talented on the ball. He can do all this ball manipulation, dribbling, drift into space, half turn, whatever you want to call it. He can do all of that. But what we need is a goal scorer. What we need is someone who will fight tooth and nail to get into that box and get on the end of a loose shot or a poor cross or a wayward pass. They will do anything to get in the goal and score goals. He's not that. He's a brilliant link-up guy. He's a brilliant person on the eye. But when we talk about, I'm gonna coin something from Mr. Johnny Minerals. When we talk about minerals, yeah, he ain't got it like that. Like I'm sorry, he just doesn't. And maybe the move to Atleti, the £100 million move to Atleti was too early, or maybe the being at Atleti at a young age under Simeone was start for this development. I can understand those things, but that does not mean that we need to go and get him right away. So I would say no. But Terry, if you told me that there was we got another striker, we got a centre back, we got another centre back. And we got another centre midfielder, and obviously still a goalkeeper technically. If we got all of those, and then you said to me, "Oh, you can have João Felix on loan for a minimum loan fee and half his wages," then I would say yes, because I'm like, we have got the majority of the things that we need this summer. We have gotten. I am not abandoning Onana to get João Felix. I'm not abandoning Amrabat to get João Felix. Maybe this centre back potential that we linked to. Maybe I could swap those two around. Cool. But he's not my go-to guy to be like, yeah, forget what we're doing, get him now. Like, no, man, no. And I know Baller FC are screaming for him, Terry. João Felix, good in the eye. He's amazing. He's a baller. Listen, bro. I am tired of these ballers. I am tired of these ballers who come to my club and do nothing. Like, we need a balance of ballers and efficiency. Ten Hag also recognizes he needs a balance of ballers and efficiency, because look at the kind of players that he's brought in. Casemiro isn't the typical baller. You know what I mean? He's not a technician like that. Mason Mount isn't your typical baller. He prefers Rashford and Bruno. He wants, first and foremost, efficiency. And I don't care how silky you are on the ball. If you can't give me that, then why are you here? You know what I mean? Why are you here? I listen. I like my ballers. I love Jadon Sancho. I rep and support Amad Diallo. But there's only so many of those players that I can do that for. I can't do it for 11. You know what I'm saying? We need that balance. And yeah, we need to balance it out, man. Like these ballers, this baller thing.
Yeah,
Nah, stop, man.
I look at it along these lines. You know, there's an interesting super chat here that says people want Hojlund, who had 12 GA for Atalanta, but forget that João Felix had 30 GA for Benfica. He did. He absolutely did. The thing is, though, it's when you 20 years of age is Hojlund, and you read about him and you research him, and there's a fervent belief that he is going to grow up to be a very prolific goal scorer. And he also doesn't play the same position. He's the number 9. And for me, João Felix is not a number 9. He is a second striker. He plays off the striker. You know, that is what he is. And the problem that you have is that we have Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United, who is exponentially better than João Felix. Now, I don't care for people's personal preference over which one they prefer to watch. Bruno Fernandes will create more and score more than him. And your job as a second striker is to score and create. That is your primary function. The same as a number 9, your primary function is to score. If you're a number 9 that can't score goals, I don't care about your link-up play and your pressing. You have to be able to score a certain amount of goals. Now, you don't have to be the most prolific player in the world, but there has to be an element of goals that you create and or score. It's literally your job. It's like being a goalkeeper. There's no point having the footballing ability at the back that Onana or Edison have got, but yet in goal you are terrible. You still need to be able to shot stop to a very high level as well. It's about the mixture. Bruno's better than him. I actually look at it and think, technically on the ball, Felix is much better than Mason Mount. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. But in the cold, hard light of day, they'll probably deliver about the same amount of goal output for you. So at the end of the day, why pay João Felix to look better? It will cost you more, but in the end, to deliver, no more than. If you're going to pay someone more, if you're going to pay £70 million in a transfer fee and then pay somebody 300 grand a week, they've got to deliver more, and they won't. Mm-hmm. And I think next season, if we see, again, Christian Eriksen in a more advanced position, moves me more than João Felix. I think João Felix is a baller to watch. I love how he looks, but he's inefficient. And look, in Chelsea were a calamity last season, so maybe he improves. He also hasn't done particularly well at Ati. Now, there's a bit of a myth about Atletico Madrid. Yeah, when they play against the biggest and the best teams, they're quite pragmatic. But they're not pragmatic against every team every week. They attack more. And even then, he wasn't prolific. I do believe he left Benfica too young. I think he should have stayed there a couple more seasons. But yeah, it's right now, it's an absolute no from me. I think that money could be better invested in either players are more prolific now or will grow to be more prolific in the future, like a Hojlund. Listen, how much money he's going to cost? I'd rather chance our arm and not sign Hojlund, not sign João Felix, and go and get Kane. It just doesn't make any sense to me, who is, by the way, is a baller and a producer. So, yeah, look, from my point of view, I know a lot of United fans want him. I know there's a lot that are probably over the last 5, 6, 7 years have, bought him on Football Manager, played with him on FIFA, rated him since he was 17 years old, and like, oh, this is our chance. He's a good football player. He could become a very good football player. But until he adds top-class outputs to his ability, he's never going to be worth the money that we're being quoted. And this is the crazy thing. You got a lot of the Baller FC guys, so people like Lee Gunner, and I'm going to call Lee Gunner out here, clip it up and send it to him. That's normally your job, to be fair, KJ. Clip it up. Diego Simeone will walk if he's forced to get rid of a baller, a footballer of the ilk and of the quality of a João Felix. Not only is Simeone not going to walk, Simeone is advocating for the sale of him. Now, this isn't. I'm not going to be bitten once and become shy on this. Odegaard being sold by Real Madrid, typically when a club is willing to let a very young, talented player go, it's a red flag to me. Now, every now and then, those clubs make a mistake because I actually think Odegaard, you put him into that Real Madrid team last year and they could do bits, but they've had a vision beyond him and maybe it will work out for them. Every now and then they make a mistake, and Odegaard looked very, very good at Arsenal. But the fact that Ati are willing to let him go and they do not seem bothered, they want to get a good price but don't seem that bothered, that is a massive red flag. When a team wants to allow its young players to leave, are they really that good? I remember Man United fans saying, we should be looking at Liverpool's Brewster, you know. That guy's a baller. I've seen this. I've read that. Well, why are Liverpool letting him go then if he's such a baller? Well, I don't even know where he is now. Like, this happens all. Do you remember Man United? Remember Man United fans when they were crying because Angel Gomez was leaving?
All right, listen, that still hurts me to this day, man.
Yeah, I get your point.
It is what it is, isn't it?
And they're good footballers, and they're good footballers, and I wish I was at their level, and I wish I was able to do what they did. I'm not judging them as in they're bad professionals, but we're talking about we need a team to make us European champions and Premier League champions again. And João Felix isn't that guy. Now, you may believe Bruno isn't that guy, and Mount isn't that guy. That's fair enough, but nor is João Felix. The guy is being sold by a team that's declining. And he's still only 23. It's a massive red flag.
No, I heard people say, but he improves us. I was just like, yeah, to what extent?
How?
Maybe improves availability of someone who can play up front. Yeah, cool. Like that's fine. But how much better is that than having Martial out? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those ones where, like, if he came to Chelsea and was absolutely killing it, I would be like, yeah, I'll bite your hand off. But Chelsea need a striker or need a forward player. Why are they not going back in for João Felix? They are a mess. And you'll hear Chelsea fans say he was one of their better players. Why are you not signing back up? Even that is a red flag. Like, even that is a red flag. That a team that you want on loan don't even want you when you're supposed to be one of their better players. It makes no damn sense. Honestly, like, talented player. And I believe that if he went to the right club where they do just build around him and he is the centerpiece and he has a goal scorer in front of him, two wide men that can do the creating, and then he can just freely do what he does, then he will do amazing. But at this top tier level, luxury players are a dying breed and you can't be one anymore. Like, you have to fit into a system. And it just says it all when apparently the only offer that he's got on the table is from Aston Villa. Like, I might even, you know what? Screw it. I might see João Felix down the road and that, you know what I'm saying?
Mate,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
As I said, I'm not saying he's a bad footballer. I'm not saying he's an awful footballer. I just think he's good to very good. And Man United need more than that. With the amount of money he's going to, again, cost us, we need better than that. And I just don't think he's all that. Listen, I don't think when it comes, he will never be at Bruno Fernandes's level of delivery. Now, technical preference, you know, it is what it is. Do you know what I'm saying? He will never, ever score and assist and create for Man United at the level that Bruno does. And if you're going to replace Bruno in the Man United team, it's got to be for someone that's more impactful than him. You've got to find someone better, and that's very, very hard. This super chat here says 85 million for Hojlund is nonsense. I'd walk away. I think we've sort of alluded to that. Terry, if we spend 85 million on unproven striker, Man United is worse than I thought. Onana, 51 million is worth it, though. Yeah, I mean, if we spend that much on him and he doesn't score goals, if we spend 85 million on Hojlund and he bags 30 goals next season in all comps, and then does that every year for 5, 6, 7 years, I don't think we'll complain. But yeah, it's a lot of money. Maybe the football terrace needs to go to Saudi. We'll come back to that in a minute, but maybe. United should go for our Nazar's number 7. He's a baller. He used to be. He used to be one of the best.
He's also an OAP as well.
Yeah. Chelsea didn't want to pay Mount. Red flag. I think Mount is quality and we shouldn't have sold him. Yeah, but listen, it depends on what story you read that Chelsea wanted to keep him. I do think there's some red flags around Mount. And that's why I've put a lot of question marks to it. So again, I'm not a hypocrite. I've said that there's a worry there. There's a concern there. as far as I'm concerned as well. So I haven't disagreed with that and haven't changed my stance. I'm very, very consistent when it comes to that. I wanted to ask you actually about the Saudi money coming into Liverpool. What's your thoughts on it, bro? Because you're looking at 50 million for both Henderson. Henderson, we understand now, has accepted the 700,000. 7 bars. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, 700,000, nearly 3/4 of a bar per week. One of the highest paid Englishmen of all time. He's going Saudi. Fabinho could be on his way out there as well. £50 million for Liverpool. Talk to me.
Who told Steven Gerrard to offer him 700k a week? Like, Stevie G, this is why you did not succeed at Aston Villa. Because this move is egregious, outrageous. £700,000 for Jordan Henderson. He's 33 years old? 33 years old. It's crazy. And you know what? In terms of the money coming into Liverpool, hey, if you can't beat them, join them, innit? Like, if they are offering them the peas to get rid of these older men that need to be gone anyway, then take it. Take it. Because Chelsea are benefiting. Man City potentially will be benefiting. All these other teams are benefiting. Yo, even Celtic benefited from Saudi money, bruv. You telling me that Liverpool should deny it? No. And I've seen a lot of backlash from some groups that Jordan Henderson supports, saying how dare he take this money and go to this country that don't align with how we see the world. And my thing is this: why are you denying a man for a life-changing opportunity? This, like, literally, he's already in a brilliant position that is, but this could set up his family for generations with this amount of money that is about to be given, and you want to deny a man that opportunity just because your worldview and their worldview don't align. Like, guess what? Not everyone's worldview aligns. We have to get along. How do you not know that he can go out there and help change that worldview that they have in particular area? How do we know that? Like you can't always just be a barrier between people if you don't agree. At some point, someone has to put their hand out and be like, okay, let's come to an agreement. Let's explore the world together. Jordan Henderson could be a catalyst to do that in that part of the world. So don't get mad at him. You should be congratulating him for being able to get such an opportunity and hope that he continues the good work that he's been doing for your causes. Honestly, this move, it is what it is. A club's coming for him, willing to pay Liverpool money and willing to give him some amazing money. And people saying he's already on life-changing money. Bruv, he's on life-changing money now. How much more life-changing is 700k? Like, it doesn't stop. It doesn't change the fact that it can change his life even more. Like, come on, people. Like, this is what I mean. People are just salty about footballers. Like,
yeah, look, I can understand the hypocrisy being called out. You know, if you're someone that advocates for a certain community and then you go and play in a country where that community is excluded completely, there is going to be challenges towards you and your morality. But of course, we live in the world of virtue signaling and the morality police. What I find really interesting is that I've not seen any calls yet from certain Liverpool fans to reject these bids on moral grounds, who I've seen for weeks call out Man United about the idea of Qatari money coming in, who I've seen slam Saudis when they were buying Chelsea players, slam the Saudi Arabia takeover or the inclusion in the takeover of Newcastle, slam the money from Abu Dhabi at Man City and how poisonous and nasty it is, but yet celebrated the idea of raising £50 million for players they think are past it and being able to invest that £50 million into their squad. And that's the problem again with people being virtuous. It's okay, you have a go at Henderson because of his sort of the LGBTQ plus groups that he has supported. But how far do you take it? You do realize those regions of the world pay Premier League rights to watch the game in their country. Those Premier League TV right monies are then paid out to your football club. Your football club then uses that money to improve its football team, TV rights. There are multiple countries around the world who will have laws in their countries that, by UK standards, are deemed wrong or old or barbaric or whatever phrase people like to use. But you're happy for your football club to accept the money from them. I've called this out for many, many years. You know, Talk Sport pay millions of pounds to be the exclusive radio channel, radio broadcast in the UK of the Premier League, which means they pay money to the Prem, who pay it to the clubs, right? Liverpool fans don't ask for their club to reject that money because TalkSport was owned by the Sun, but they should, but people don't. And that's my issue when it comes to all of the virtue signaling. And if you're against it and you want to criticize it, you're free to, and I think you should have the right to do it. But don't criticize on one side of your mouth and speak differently on the other. You should be standing there today demanding that your club rejects the bid. You should be slamming Klopp, slamming FSG if they accept the bid. You should be going crazy if they're not donating that transfer fee to charities that support the causes the money's against, rather than reinvesting it into your squad. But you won't go that far because it actually damages your football club. What you'll do is you'll moan about it publicly because it makes you look good, but ask for no tangible reaction. And that's the bit, again, the element that gets to me. These individuals never follow through with their actions, whether it be about an emotive subject like this, right down to not liking their owners. Football fans, especially English football fans, are as weak as gnat's piss. There is no follow through and there is no tangible action from any of them. It is all just lip service, virtue signaling, tripe, all of it. It really, really gets on my nerves. And for me, you know, if you're against it, you're against it. But do something, prove you're against it. But you won't, will you? Like you won't actually go out of your way. You won't stop. I'm not saying don't support your club, but you won't boycott your club. You know, there'll be Liverpool fans online today tweeting about it. Saying they're not going to go and make videos consistently slamming the club. They're and rip into the club and name people and go for them. They'll have one little moan and then go back to supporting their club as normal. And it's like, well, what's the point of the whinge? What is the point of the whinging if you're going to do nothing at the end of it? That's my stance on this. Is always simple. I've never criticized the inclusion of any nation or individual from the Middle East, because I know that I'm not going to walk away from Man United if we take money from that part of the world. Therefore, I don't condemn anybody else, because therefore I'm a hypocrite. And all the Liverpool fans that have bemoaned the Qatari takeover because it's money from the Middle East, they don't like that region of the world, are now happy and willing to celebrate £50 million being invested in you. I've seen Arsenal fans do it with a banner in their stadium that says, "Say no to oil money." A stadium called the Emirates Stadium. This sort of stuff for me is just ridiculous. Millions of pounds a year is raised by the Premier League through selling TV rights to those regions of the world. The clubs accept that money, okay? The hypocrisy stinks. It stinks like morning breath. It's just, honestly, it gets on my nerves. It really, really does.
No,
I'm not saying people can't criticize this stuff before anybody twists my words. I'm saying stop talking out of both sides of your mouth, because it's embarrassing.
No, it's just the way things are with football fans right now. They see things what they don't want to see. Only their club can get away with certain things, and everyone else is bad. Like, it is what it is at the end of the day. Jordan Henderson, fair play to him. Go and get your P's, man. Go play for your hero, Steven Gerrard. And yeah, do what you're doing. But in terms of the footballing aspect, Liverpool, if they get rid of these two midfielders in Fabinho and Henderson, I actually think their chances of challenging for the league goes down, just for the fact that they're going to have to replace those two players with potentially younger players who are not as experienced as them to try and get them over the line. And I know Klopp's a brilliant manager, and we saw to the back end of last season that he can get those guys firing and playing. But to incorporate would be around 4 new midfielders into your system while having 5 of them leave, I think is a lot to ask for. It's not like it was one striker, a right back, and then 2 midfielders, different parts of the pitch where you can kind of manage. The midfield is the most important part of football. We've seen it for years now, that you need to get that down, and they're about to lose Fabinho, who on his day is one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. And Henderson, who's got bags of experience, who's got the leadership qualities that they've been needed over the last few 5-6 years, and led them to different kinds of trophies, whether it be Champions League and Premier League. That's hard to replace in one summer. Now they can go out with the money, go out and get 2 brilliant young midfielders, or go get a Lavia, and in the long term they'll be fine for it because they've already got Szoboszlai in, they've got McAllister. If they get a Lavia, or even a cheeky Caicedo now that they've got P's coming in, you know what I mean? Like, then in the future be fine. But in the short term, I think it would hinder their chance to win the Premier League straight away. I think they'll be up there in the title, in the top 4 race. But if they lose both Henderson and Fabinho, I think it will damage their title race hopes, which I think many Liverpool fans will be having this season, and I think they could potentially go on to do as well.
I agree. If they don't replace Fabinho, especially with experience, they won't win the league. They can make the top 4, but it will be a failure of a season. Liverpool not winning the league next season is failure again. And they're, 7-8 seasons of Jurgen Klopp, 1 league title, isn't a good enough return for how good this Liverpool team has been. So I think with the £50 million they're raising, they may be looking at Lavia, but they need to bring in some experience into that team as well. And I'm not too sure exactly who that is. That's down to FSG and Jurgen Klopp to work out. But with Thiago missing listen, I can't see Thiago having a fully fit season and not missing periods of time again. That inexperienced midfield, listen, that midfield, if they get Lavia, Szoboszlai, and McAllister, ability-wise, it's brilliant. I think it's set for years to come. But is it good enough to help them win the league next season? Not for me. Maybe the year after. But yes, it'll be very intriguing if they let both of those players go. So yeah, very, very intriguing. It'll be hard to keep them now because if they're offering Henderson 700 grand, imagine what they're going to offer Fabinho, who's younger and better.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And one thing I will say quickly on Liverpool, because I got a Liverpool fan in there questioning, well, we need a change, and now that we're changing, you're moaning. I'm not moaning. I'm just saying this is a precaution of change. You know what I mean? This is potentially a possibility because of the change. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. Like, I think you should. I think you should rebuild. And I don't think there's any issue with rebuilding quick. People are slating Chelsea. But I'm going to give that more time before I say it's worked or not, because we've not really seen a quick rebuild before. So if Klopp wants to rebuild his midfield quick, cool. But this would just be for one season. I'm not saying forever. For one season, it might hinder your chance of winning the league. But in the long term, I think it'd be very good. So yeah, man, like I wouldn't overly complain too much about it happening as a Liverpool fan. I'll just be more concerned about, okay, what would we get in, and what would that result in this next season?
Yeah, I think what you've got to look at with Liverpool is that what they're doing now with their midfield should have been a slower process 3 years ago. These 3 players, and it may not be Lavia, Szoboszlai, and McAllister per se, but they should have all been introduced over the last couple of seasons. So there's a slow transition, and you never notice a drop. Now they're getting rid of all these players that have aged out, and they're putting all these new people together. They've got to create chemistry. They've got to learn each other's games. It's going to take time. This is from Studio Hook says, let's be honest. Gerrard is just he's just going, yo, man, them come over here. I've got you. We all eat. Yeah, there is a little bit of that, maybe. A little bit of that, maybe. Yeah. Liverpool fans are hypocrites. Well, not all Liverpool fans. I'm just saying, like, it'll be some, and I'm going to call people out there hypocrites, because the virtue signaling around money from the Middle East gets on my nerves. In the Mirror, it's mentioned that Jorginho and some Arsenal players are in the dark regarding Rice's announcement. Thoughts?
Why would they know anyway? Like,
yeah, I just think, honestly, all the video footage came out yesterday. Rice is still on holiday. I think when you've broke the British transfer record for a player, I think that you want to do a really big announcement, and you want him around for it. They may not have had the chance to film it all. They may want him. They may want to announce it when he's going to be in the country, so he can instantly do interviews. Like, they've got to start making some of their money back. That'll be what it's all about. Remember when they announced the Pogba deal, and he released a Stormzy video, you could tell by his haircut and his haircut in the interview that it was all filmed 2 or 3 weeks before we announced it. So it was done. It was just delayed for one reason or another. I don't think there's anything to worry about or even talk about with it anymore. It's done. It's going to be a completed deal. They're just biding their time. He's still on holiday. We're training with. This is the thing. Is I just see someone tweet this. They're like, football fans, we're so bitter and angry with each other, but you've literally got like Lavia, Bruno, Cancelo, Declan Rice,
Rafael Leao,
Rafael Leao, sorry, all on
Yeah.
holiday together, like chilling, training, kicking balls. And by the way, did you see that volley from Bruno?
Oh, no, that was cold.
But man ain't got no technique. He ain't got no technique. Hendo, best Liverpool captain, Premier League captain, let him profit.
Facts.
True.
Big facts. Greatest Premier League captain Liverpool's ever seen, mate.
Yeah. What is the financial benefit to announcing it late? Well, it's not about. They're not announcing it late, though. This is what I'm saying. Maybe they've lined up a series of interviews which they believe are going to create lots of traffic, which are going to help sell products. But because he's on holiday, he's not available to do the interviews. They don't want to announce it and then have a 2-week delay before they can start doing the work. They may want to make it one big fanfare. It's really simple, Twisted. I know you like to ask difficult questions, but that's a fucking weird one, mate.
At the end of the day, clubs will announce it when it's announced it. Everyone knows it's done. So everyone just relax, innit? Like, here's what it is.
No, I agree. Do you think, by the way, have you seen? Has anybody seen whether or not Jamie Carragher has called out for an investigation into the Saudi teams now that Liverpool are benefiting from them? Is anyone seen that?
Yeah, I haven't seen Jamie Carragher anywhere right now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm personally just jealous that they're not trying to buy Man United players, if I'm being honest.
All I'm saying is I reckon Jamie Carragher might be getting a bit of that Saudi money as well, bro. You know what I mean? Stevie G up in there giving Henderson 700k. You might just give like Carragher some hush money.
Or consultancy fee. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Someone said he commented, did he? I didn't see it. I didn't go and out my way. Like, I actually like Jamie Carragher as a pundit. But
it's good fun. He's good.
What did he say on it? I'm going to his Twitter account. What has he said? Any updates on this? The money is difficult to turn down, hence why virtually no one has. A great servant and player for Liverpool. He will get criticised because he does a lot of praise on his stance over GQ Plus in the past. Not a player in his prime. And again, a big statement to get Liverpool's captain to the Saudi League. A good deal for Liverpool. Also, that's okay. That's okay. And I'm like, but have they signed anybody who's in their prime and wanted by the big clubs? Who have they signed that's in their prime?
Ruben Neves.
Yeah, but he was talking.
Sergio Milinkovic-Savic.
Okay, but again, but who wants him? That's the point.
No one's really. They've not competed for anybody.
So my question is this: when he called out to Chelsea, they took Ziyech fell through, but they went for Ziyech, they went for Kante, they went for Koulibaly, and there was one other player, the goalie, Mendy. I don't feel like they've signed any top class player at the peak of his powers that everybody wants to sign. So when he says that Henderson's different because he's not the peak of his game, again, that's just lip service, Jamie.
Yeah, he's just he's copium, isn't it? Like, I love Liverpool journalists because they're funny. You got Dominic King saying, if this deal were to go through, talking about the Henderson deal, if this deal were to go through, this would be a game changer for the transfer market and for all Premier League clubs. If Saudi Arabia can get Liverpool's captain, nobody is unattainable, bro. Jordan Henderson is not the game changer. The game changer was flipping Benzema. You know what I'm saying?
Even in his past, the game changer would be they sign Saka or Rashford, or they sign Trent. They sign Trent now. That's a game changer. That's my point. They haven't signed a Rashford, a Trent, a Saka,
Mbappe,
Haaland. That would be, oh my God, they're serious. They're signing people at the end of their careers, or I'll use an old example. William Carvalho was linked to a big club every summer for a decade, never moved.
Yeah.
They're signing players like him. Ruben Neves was linked to Man United, Arsenal, whoever for years. Never happened. So in the end, he's gone, well, I could carry on playing for a Wolves and be middle of the table for the rest of my career, or I can go to Saudi and earn 10 times the money. I might as well go there. That's what they're signing. It's a real weird one for me. I wanted to ask you a bit about Arsenal. Arsenal are supposedly close to completing a deal for Bitello. Who's he?
He sounds like an Italian dish. To be fair, that's what he
Have some
sounds.
Bitello and spaghetti, please.
Yeah, like that. I don't know. I have no idea who this guy is. Another Brazilian fined by Edu Gaspar. And you know what? Obviously, his last major unknown signing that we got was Martinelli from Brazil. Plucked him out of the lower leagues of that country, and look how he's developed and become an amazing player for Arsenal. So I'm not gonna sit here and bash it and be like, "Oh, this is terrible. Who is he? He's probably rubbish." I've never seen him play, so it might be a steal. But yeah, it's just a random one. I don't know. Maybe he's doing a favor for one of the mandem over there. You know what I'm saying? Like Marquinhos, they could have gone for free, but they gave that team an extra bit of money just to be like, oh, thank you for him. Like, I don't know. It might be one of those ones, but we'll see. We'll see. He might be a Marquinhos. He might be a Martinelli. Imagine if he becomes like the midfield signing that they've been needing for years. That would be absolutely crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been reading about him this afternoon. I couldn't find him on a few websites, like player profile websites. He's not on there. But he's 23. The 23-year-old bit is throwing me. Being 23 is throwing me because he ain't a kid. 23-year-olds are not children. They're not children. It says here, at age 23, Bitello is a talented attacking midfielder born in Brazil. He plied his trade at lower league club side Caicedo before joining Grêmio's academy at the age of 18 back in 2018. Since then, he has made a name for himself in the Brazilians' top flight, establishing himself as one of the brightest prospects for the, I can't even pronounce it, the Porto Alegre-based outfit. Yeah, again, that's all I really found him. I don't know anything about him at all. I know nothing. And as you say, this could be Martinelli, this could be Marquinhos. £8.5 million in 2023 is dirt cheap though.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not that much. And if they play him enough or he gets decent performances, you probably resell him for like 20 million or something. Yeah, it's just an interesting one because normally when it comes to these kids from Brazil, you hear about them. You got you got the Hendricks, Vinny Jr. when he came from there, Jesus when he came from Brazil.
There was a guy a few years back, Everton was his name.
Everton with it. There's a name, Rita Rook, who's just gone to Barcelona. Like you normally have this the hype around these young players coming from Brazil that you normally know about. So yeah, this is an interesting one where it's just like, okay, apparently he's a really talented upcoming name from Brazil, but I've never heard, like literally, I've just never heard of him. He might be one of those, he might be the tier below, because he's 23. He might be that tier below of hype in Brazil. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it says here that he will often drop his shoulder when the opposition defender is pressing him, looking to knock it past the on-rushing player. It says that last season he was utilized as a false nine or right wing on occasion. He's ball carrying. He's one of his great assets, is what the scouting report here says. So yeah, I'm just going by scouting report. I can't judge him because I don't know him.
I'm gonna go full league honor here. He's not a real player. It's all PR, so that Arsenal don't actually have to sign anybody.
Mate, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Earlier, I was searching. I wanted to make sure he was real in case he was some character from, I don't know, Ted Lasso or something.
Yeah.
I was like, I never even. That's how much I hadn't heard of this guy. I really, really didn't. And this here says, "Thank you, Barca and Man United, for rejecting Martinelli." Yeah, no problem. We've got Garnacho. I'm confident Garnacho is going to grow up to be a better player. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And we've got Rashi. So yeah, it's all good. We've got Rashi and Garnacho, my friend. Drops the shoulder. I'm just reading the scouting report.
Yeah, honestly, when I heard that drop the shoulder part, I'm like, wait, so do most players in the league?
This is my worry though. It says the 23-year-old is still very raw. Being 23, do you know what? When I hear raw and that I think he was younger, but reminds me of the scouting report I read when we signed Bebe. And the problem is the thing is though, there is a romance in these types of signings. There's a romance in terms of like, imagine we sign some kid no one's heard of and he turns out to be Pele. You always hope. Or we've all seen, you must have watched the film when you were a kid, Goal.
Santiago Munez, bro.
Yeah. We all hope that happens. We all hope that happens. We all hope for a Rocky story. We all hope for some kind of underdog story. But yeah, it's a tough one because the scouting reports I'm reading are so basic.
Yeah.
And personally, I wouldn't be surprised if this newspaper I'm reading it from has copied this off of Football Manager or something. I wouldn't be surprised if we found that out because no one knows anything. I'm not even sure if Arteta knows anything. He's like, by the way, you're getting this Brazilian. He's got to play in the League Cup, and then we'll sell him.
No, I'm telling you now. Edu said, guys, I know you're struggling out there. Yo, here's some peas, bro. Here's some peas. I need to make it look like I'm actually buying a player. So give me some. It's a roulette. That's what they did, Terry. The man went on the big spinning wheel, put the names on, spun it, and I was like, ding. All right, cool. This guy is the one we're gonna use to do this transaction, so you guys can have some food. Like that's what it is. Like
this is an interesting comment here. It says, Terry, at what age do you give up on young talent? If we're talking football specifically, first answer is that it's about when they're good enough. So age is partly to do with it. But I don't think any player past 24, 25 gets exponentially better.
I think the age you start giving up, I think it actually is around 22, 23. Like, I think that's around the age. If you're not broken to your first team around that age, it's looking a bit techie for you at that club.
Yeah, I always remember.
To your comment though, Terry, it's going to sound mad. There is a period between, I think, 24 and like 29 where like you're probably just doing a steady progression. I think after you turn 29 and your maturity kicks in, I think that's another place where you can actually improve.
I get that. I think you can become more consistent in that time. But then some players I give up on at 17, 18. For instance, I never thought that like Laird would be a Man United player. I never thought he would. I just thought, yeah.
Well, he's down the road now, isn't it?
I watched Chong at 18. I'm like, he's never going to be a Man United player. So yeah, sometimes you give up earlier than that if you just don't think they're good enough. This here says, you know that name is a pizza topping. Look it up. No, is it?
Is it? I said it sounds like an Italian dish. If it actually is, that's mad.
Are we all being trolled here? Is this person even a real player? Are we all being trolled here?
It's AI. It's the first AI footballer. That's what it is.
Bertoli pizza ovens. You can buy a Bertoli pizza oven. Yeah, yeah. Oh wow. There we go. We could see a massive transfer twist because it's looking likely Partey ends up in Saudi. I really believe Arsenal will go for Caicedo. Listen, this transfer market has become so quiet that I know there's going to be some big shocks. There's going to be some big shocks, and Chelsea still haven't got this over the line yet. And it was meant to be over the line, and it's dragging on. It's not even dragging on. It's gone silent. It's quiet.
I'm telling you now, Liverpool. If they sell both Henderson and Fabinho, guarantee you Liverpool end up with Caicedo. I think it's gonna be a three-way. If Partey leaves, Fabinho and Henderson, three-way race between Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal. And I reckon Arsenal wins. I'm not Arsenal, sorry. Yeah, Liverpool wins that race for Caicedo if it happens.
I think Ben Jacobs has cursed it as well. Ben Jacobs is a brilliant journalist. Last year, he said basically he didn't say no chance, but he kept on playing down Eriksen to Man United.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, I loved it.
He said already this summer, no way, no matter what, Caicedo's not going to Liverpool. But I felt so bad for Ben yesterday because he did an exclusive that Jordan Henderson would not be going to Saudi. And like 3 hours later, the world changed. They obviously upped his money and it all changed.
Yeah.
But I believe Ben has got the curse on him this year, but the curse is on Liverpool. So him saying they won't get Caicedo means they will. I just think
Jacob's judge. Is that what we're saying?
Jacob's judge. Caicedo to Liverpool will happen based on that. But no, I think Liverpool will go and get Lavia, on a real one. I think they'll get Lavia.
Yeah. I'm good about that. I would love Lavia at Man United as our backup to Casemiro. But hey, we've got other targets. Man like Buffal, you know what I'm saying? Watford's greatest ever player is coming to our team, innit?
Yeah, no, I agree. This year says Garnacho will be better than Martinelli. I believe that Garnacho starts and performs like Martinelli at the age of 19. Look, I think Garnacho. Listen, I think Martinelli's brilliant. I just think Garnacho will be better than him in the future. I think Garnacho is an absolute star. I think just my prediction as a Man United fan. But that's just my take. Ben Jacobs don't know about clubs outside of London. It's not strictly true. He has got other things right. It's just it is what it
Wait,
is.
no. Okay, listen. If Terry tells me that he's moving house and he's moving to Birmingham right now, and I tell everyone Terry's moving to Birmingham, and then 3 hours later he changes his mind and then announces, actually, I'm moving to Manchester, I'm not flipping wrong. You know what I mean? Like, he was moving. He was moving to Birmingham.
Someone me and KJ know passed away. And someone told KJ before they had passed that they had died. So KJ contacted me and told me, and I tweeted out. And then people go, he ain't dead yet. And I'm like, oh my God. So I ring up KJ, why are you telling me that? I was so embarrassed. And I actually spoke to the person's mum, and they were like, they said, now we look back on it, we laugh because it was almost, because we knew there was no malice in it. And I'm like, yeah, someone I trusted told me, because KJ told me, I didn't think anything of it, but KJ trusted who told him. But it was one of those horrible moments where you're sort of like,
wait, when I realized that happened, my heart sank, man. Like, I was just like, no, man, no.
Shit. KJ, he ain't dead. And KJ's like, what? I was like, yeah, he ain't died yet. Like, and it was all done from a lovely place. It was like, oh, someone's passed, and yeah, but it's what happens. Like KJ, it's one of those weird things. KJ wasn't wrong in his own mind. Someone that he trusted told him, and when you trust what you're being told, it's a hard one. But yeah, man, it's definitely a hard one. Try not to laugh too much about it. It's not laughing about. We're not laughing about somebody passing. We're laughing about somebody getting the information wrong.
Situation, man. It's a situation.
Like on a real one. I remember speaking to his mum, and his mum was like, "Yeah, we all kind of chuckled because his mum said she saw the post, and she's like, I was sitting with him. She went, I was so confused." And I was like, oh God. But obviously, when you know the thing is, when you know people, that you can laugh at and again, it's a friend. It was just like, oh my days, what have I done? What have I done? The worst bit was I was getting it, like I was in my head, all the thing I think was is KJ. Oh, KJ. Oh, but yeah. It was all seen. It was all seen for there was a niceness to it, but yeah, these things can happen. Disappointed to find out he hadn't died. Yes, kind of, not literally, but because I posted it and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe it, and I'm like, oh no, he ain't gone.
Yeah, no, it was honestly, guys, it's like one of the weirdest moments of my life where I'm like, I've told someone that they've died and haven't died yet. You know what it reminded me of? You know, the journalist that reported that Viola died and he didn't die.
Oh my God!
That was exactly that.
And that's very different, because that was professional journalists getting it wrong, and I weren't being a journalist reporting on somebody that I didn't know. It was someone I knew, right? But I tell you, it's happened twice in my family. I also got a message once that an uncle of mine had died, and he hadn't. Right? And I've got this thing that if people like, I called his phone. I was upset, and I called his phone, and it was ringing. And I remember when my nan passed away, her voicemail stayed open for like about a month. So the first month, I probably phoned it a few times, hear a voice. And I phoned my uncle's phone. The fucker answered. Shit myself.
I'm like, hey, you're supposed to be dead. Nah, mate, I'm alive. I'm alive and well.
Yeah. I was like, oh no. I thought you go. But he basically was like, no, I'm on my way out though. I was like, oh, uncle. Like, my family have got very warped sense of humor. Like, we kind of joke about those things. But yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah, I got a tweet already. Yeah, it weren't quite like that, but sort of a little bit. A little bit, maybe a little bit like that. But Terry, any update on Gvardiol? Well, look, the Gvardiol deal is very much stalling, like a lot of other transfers at the moment. You know, they don't want to pay the price. Leipzig are not budging, and you guys are not struggling to get it done, but it's taken a while, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised to see that. I'm not surprised to see it. So, look, I think you guys will get it done. I think you'll get it over the line. I wouldn't be worried about it as a. Excuse me. I wouldn't be worried about it as a Man City fan. I think you'll get it sorted. There's no doubt about that at all for me. Kane's Hot One interview is out. Transfer request. Is it? I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, him and that hot sauce, man. You thought he had a lisp now. Oi, jeez, man, that is gonna be flowing a river. But nah, in terms of Gvardiol, like he is so talented. I think he's an amazing centre back. When I saw him at the World Cup, I thought he could have won Young Player of the tournament. Because centre backs at his age being able to do what he does, is very rare. And Man City, if they're continuing to do this 4 centre back formation, where Stones drops into midfield and you have the back 3, he's going to be brilliant in that wide left centre back role. Honestly, he's an absolutely brilliant talent. I hope I hope this stalls, man. I hope it does stall, and it turns out that they can no longer find an agreement and they walk away, and he stays at Leipzig until someone else abroad picks him up. Because honestly, that is a cheat code, man. Kyle Walker on one side and Gvardiol on the other, man. Like, it's not. That is just recovery pace for days. Like they're not conceding many counters after that.
No, they're not. It's gonna be crazy. Do you think the silence on the takeover is a good silence? I hope it is. I do hope it is. I hope it is. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Thoughts on Mikel Arteta wants to bring Kyle Walker and Alvarez to Arsenal? He's got no chance. He's got absolutely no chance of signings, in my personal opinion. I don't think he'll be able to bring them in.
He's already come out saying Alvarez's camp has always said they're happy at Man City and he's not going to go anywhere. So yeah.
Terry, could United still get Kane? Maybe. If the takeover happens, it's certainly on. Without the takeover, I very much doubt it. That's kind of been my stance on that for a while now.
Yeah, Terry at this point is one of those like doomsday sayers, one of them old man in the rain with the sign screaming the world's gonna end with this takeover, man. Flipping now. Every month I feel like the takeover is gonna be complete in the next month or so. Keeps just going and going and going. I feel man, I just want it to be over and done with. Honestly. I don't care who on earth it is now. I don't care. Just get these guys gone. And then we can start moving forward as a football club, man.
Igal said that Saliba is better than Gvardiol. He's a Somalian Mr. Bean.
They don't need to call him that, but it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. Saliba is very, very good. Very, very good player. That's why many teams were looking at him when his contract looked like he was about to run down.
I know you know something, Terry. Mbappe to Arsenal. Nah, I doubt it happening, my friend. I doubt it's happening.
You know what? Arsenal fans, you've had one very bright season, and now you can sign everybody. Apparently, you can sign everybody. Like Tchouaméni, Mbappe. Like, who else can they? They could probably sign Vinny Jr. Like, honestly, relax, man, relax.
Yeah, not happening. Listen, people, I want to say thank you all for tuning into the show today. We're live later on as well. Please hit the like button before you leave. Please make sure you subscribe. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.